Hey guys, this is Gavin with Finnish Computer Center and Arcade Dog Bell again. She's really enjoying building these FujiNet devices with us. This is video 5 and it is going to be the last video in this series. In today's video we're going to attach the SIO socket and then we're going to clean the boards up with some 99% isotrophic alcohol and a toothbrush. Get all of the flux residue off of it, clean the connections, make sure it's nice and clean and there's not going to be any corrosion developing from leftover flux. And that'll be the end of it. You know, we'll have the FujiNets ready to go and waiting for customers to order them. We don't put them in cases at this. I leave them outside of their cases, so when somebody orders one, we can put it in the case that they want and I don't have to, you know, move devices back and forth from one case to another if we're out of one or somebody wants something else. So I hope you enjoyed this last video, but here we go. Let's get going, Bill. Okay, my apologies. I forgot to record when we attached this one side of the SIO plug to the FujiNets, but we attached the one side to all of them, and then we tried it on an actual computer to make sure it worked. All of them passed. They all booted. I was able to select an image from the SD card as well as over the Wi-Fi connection and run the programs both ways. So all of the FujiNets past this point. Basically, they're done, with the exception of putting the socket in, and we actually put in the JTAG headers on these, and I believe in the next batches that I start doing, I'm not going to include the JTAG headers because there's really no reason. Unless you brick this thing somehow, there's no need to have the JTAGs. So we've got that on. The next thing we're going to do is solder on the SIO receptacle or socket, and then the 10K resistor that goes across the data or the tape and ground in order to do the cassette tape fix that we need to do on these. So the next thing we're going to do is put in the socket side, attach the resistor, trim off the connections that are overhanging once we solder that together, and then clean it with some isotrophic alcohol. Use 99% to scrape off any of the flux that may be on there. There's quite a bit of flux on the JTAG, and there's going to be flux on our SIO connections. We want to get that all nice and clean. We'll put the QA sticker on them, and we're ready to go. They'll be finished. So stay tuned, and we'll show you attaching the SIO socket and the 10K resistor. Okay, now we're going to put the socket onto the FujiNet, and it's really about the last step that we have to do on creating a FujiNet. Ow, I keep dropping my tweezers and stabbing myself with them. These things are extremely sharp and hurt. So we take this receptacle and push the pins through the holes. This one tends to go a lot easier than the other side because these pins are pretty much locked into their locations. So it's not much of a challenge to get them through the holes. The other side, on the other hand, can be a little bit of a challenge. And now we'll solder these connections. I tend to do the 4 corners first to make sure that the SIO connection didn't move, didn't pull away from the board. Get a good base on there. If you like soldering, these SIO connections are a lot of fun. I enjoy soldering. It's actually kind of therapeutic for me. I've volunteered to build things for people just so I can spend a few hours in the garage soldering connections. I've always enjoyed soldering. Even when I was a kid, I used to enjoy soldering, making cables and doing upgrades to my old computer, repairing things. But you've got the 13 connections here. As I mentioned earlier, the SIO connections on the FujiNet are an actual pass-through, so it's a pin for pin lineup. You can plug the FujiNet in either directly to the computer using this connection, or you can plug an SIO cable into this side and use that as your connection to the FujiNet. It does not have to be plugged into the computer directly with this one, so it gives you a few options if you want to be able to have it remote away from the computer. And now we're going to put in this little 10K ohm resistor. This fixes a tape drive motor issue in this original version of the hardware. This will be fixed on the next rev of these boards. But for now, we just install this little resistor and away she goes. Piece of cake. Then I trim off these pins that are sticking way out. I don't see any reason to keep them sticking way out. And there you have it. We have a completed FujiNet, ready for whatever case design the customer wants. Like I said, we're going to take some rubbing alcohol, 99%, and clean this up. Make sure we get all of that flux off, put our sticker on it, and it'll be ready to go. Okay, now we're going to clean the flux off of this board. Just take our toothbrush, put it in the 99% alcohol, and scrub off the connections. You don't want to leave the flux on. The flux will cause corrosion on the solder at some point if you leave it on. So it's just a good idea to take this 99% and go over all the places that flux was applied. Some of these boards, I've had to do a little touch up here and there with solder. So we get flux on it, and this just removes the flux. At some point I'm probably going to get an ultrasonic bath and just fill it with this 99% and dump the PC boards into the ultrasonic bath when I'm done to clean them all off. But for now, the toothbrush works great. Take some of this lint-free tissue and dry it off. Make sure it's not sticky anymore from all the flux residue. The flux that I use for the JTAG is kind of an adhesive flux. It provides a little bit of gluing as well. So it is kind of sticky and can kind of be a pain to get off there. But enough rubbing alcohol will get it cleaned off nicely. But now the board looks nice and clean. There's virtually no flux residue, maybe a little here and there, but nothing that's going to cause any problems. There's no lint on it board, so the board is complete. We've got a 100% completed FujiNet here, and again, it's ready for whatever kind of packaging the customer wants to put it in. I don't put them in their cases until they're ordered. That way I don't have to decase them in case I have too many of one and not enough of the other. But that's it. That's making a FujiNet. Okay guys, and this brings the conclusion for building the FujiNet series. I hope you've enjoyed it. Hope that you've got a little bit of insight of what goes into building these devices. If you want to build one by hand, I hope this kind of helps you get an idea of what you're going to be in for. They can be done by hand, but it is challenging for us more senior members. But like I said, I hope you've enjoyed it. If you've got any videos that you'd like to see us do, please let us know in the comments below. If you've got any questions or comments, please also let us know in the comments below. But Belle would really appreciate a like and subscribe, and maybe a share or two. We're trying to grow this channel, so every little bit helps. I appreciate it. And we'll see you again soon in our next video. Say bye, Belle. Bye, you guys.